Hello and welcome back to Podcasting as Praxis. I'm David, my pronouns are he and him.
I'm Rob, mine he and him.
And I'm Alasdair, my pronouns are also he and him. And that slightly long pause is where Jamie would be.
Yeah.
A moment of silence.
I know. You know,
It's
much like,
episode in memoriam.
much like my dog, I was just like pawing at the button that says Jamie, and then nothing appeared, so I didn't get a treat, so I didn't say my name.
No Jamie this week, so Jamie fans turn off now.
Well, don't say that. Tell them he'll be back at the end.
Yeah, look, Jamie's just gone out for cigarettes. We'll promise he'll be right back.
Shall we kick off this one with not Britain?
Yeah, the other Britain. Britain 2.0.
Britain's biggest mistake.
Yes.
And history's greatest monster. Wait, no. Wrong cue card.
I mean, if you think about it, America is like the child of the Dutch and the English, which is like the most fucking cursed thing you could possibly imagine.
I beg you not to excuse the French for their crimes.
Yeah, but they did the nice bit, like the swampy bit where the food's good.
They also invented Quebec.
And I simply have not looked at the other history of the American South. That had simply passed me by.
Yeah, so on the international desk today is the American, well, I should say the LA protests / scare quotes riots, where a bunch of LA residents took a stand on June the 7th, or starting on June the 7th, against fascist ICE agents arriving in various parts of LA.
You can just say ICE agents.
Yes. Sometimes emphasis is a useful technique. Turning up in various parts of LA to basically round up a bunch of random non-white people. Non-white workers in places like Home Depot, nail salons, so that they can be disappeared and or / deported or whatever the fuck evil shit.
It is fucking insane. It is just fucking insane to see the pictures and the videos of these fucking fascists. It's like entirely tooled up as if they're, fucking all of them in the plot of Dave the Soldado, and just it's so fucking wrong, man.
Yeah, the key thing to understand about any brown shirt is that they're all incredibly fucking lame. Even to the point, the LAPD and local sheriff's department at one point refused to help a bunch of ICE agents who were being kettled by locals, which was quite funny. But don't worry though, because the sheriffs and the LAPD still got involved with flashbangs and tear gas elsewhere, where ICE weren't trying to commandeer LAPD and sheriff's office to do their bidding, because when you've got various arms of the state that are all entrusted with the sole role of state violence, they do like to have that independence of being able to inflict that on whoever they want, rather than having to answer to another branch that also has a monopoly on violence.
It would be funny if they're currently not trying to do it one step bigger than they did under Bush with what's it called again, the unified executive theory, which basically says, well, the president is basically a king and can basically do whatever he wants. I saw that freak John Yoo, the guy who signed the torture memos under George W. Bush first term for the war on terror. I saw him being is it bad that Trump is using 18th century legislation to send Marines into basically a small civil dispute? Yes, but on the other hand, does he have that right? Also, yes.
The causes are good, and also everything else that's happening. Yeah, so there's been several thousand National Guard have been deployed to police the protests. Guarding government buildings. The fucking
hang on, I thought they had police for that.
Yeah, well, everyone wants to get stuck in, and it's just another in a long line of the ramping up of American fascism under every American president. Well, every American president, really. Full stop. I don't need to keep on with that sentence.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing with monopolies of violence, isn't it? Like, if you've got 9 agencies which all have the monopoly of violence, they're going to overlap at some point, and they're going to start doing the same shit. Hopefully, they turn on each other. Yeah,
there's also some funny stuff about the National Guard, where they're being each member is being deployed for 29 days, so that they don't have to be given deployment and residential pay, which they get presumably at 30 days.
That's so good. I'm sorry, but that's extremely funny.
It is very funny. Obviously, it's awful that Trump has on a whim said, fuck these guys in LA, send in the National Guard. Which
did you see the really lib post about this, about how they should be offering these people who are coming in to oppress them food and shelter and stuff because it's not been provided for them? That'll win them over.
Yeah, if I was at a protest and a National Guard was pointing a rifle directly in my face, I would simply give them a can of Pepsi.
The prophecy, it's true.
Mr. Police, I gave you all the clues.
I can't believe that fucking the Cassandra of our times is one of the Kardashian clan.
Ad people,
incredible shit.
Performing divination on the Pepsi logo.
Oh yeah, if you guys deep into the Pepsi logo documentation / lore, you can read it like tea leaves to divine the future. Even with this bullshitting of the National Guard for the 29-day deployments, there's still $134 million price tag on the deployment.
Excellent.
Sorry, I'm still stuck on Caitlyn Jenner being strangled by giant snakes rising out of the ocean at this point.
Hope springs eternal. Rob, I've got a little factoid that you're going to enjoy.
Begging the good people of LA not to accept this seemingly anti-APC.
Rob, there was some literal America graffiti on plus the anti-ice Cybertruck ?
Oh, I saw
what?
Yeah. There was a fucking
commandeered?
I don't know, but there was a very cool video of it doing donuts, critical support. However, I have several questions.
Highly critical support, I think, at this point you can reasonably call it.
We can reasonably now say the protesters are armed, so this may be an issue.
The protesters have been armed with a wartime bomb. There's also been a bunch of just kick-ass photos of protesters, and videos as well. The skater dude who just coolly waltz through huge clouds of tear gas and then turn around to give ICE the middle finger. Just insanely cool stuff. Hopefully nobody IDs that guy, and the others like him.
It's yet another thread of prophecy. It's because he was a skater boy, and he simply said, "See you later, boy," while walking through a cloud of tear gas.
Yeah, hopefully no one IDs him or the guy with the the Mexico flag and was it a Palestine flag that he had as well? I can't remember.
Yeah,
just insanely cool photos. Hopefully no one IDs them, because guess what happened last time? A bunch of guys in cool photos got ID'd after the George Floyd protests.
Yeah,
all
kind
those
and
years
usual
ago.
reminder to leave like your mobile phones at home when you go to a protest, to like never fucking photograph people's faces and put them on social media, you know, like blur that shit out before you post just to be sure.
Yep.
Every day is Shut the Fuck Up Friday.
ICE also arrested a California union leader, David Huerta, for taking part in the protest. As of, I think it was, I don't know if it was today or yesterday. Today being Tuesday, it's been released, but with a count of conspiracy to interfere with an officer, a felony with a 6-year maximum prison sentence. Like, yeah, attending a protest is not allowed.
They can't very well say we're charging them for having the surname Huerta. So, I mean, they've got to think of some bullshit.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Huerta, as well as all the other people that have been arrested by ICE, are going to be, you know, whether they're going to give a fig leaf of a criminal charge or just fucking disappear them like, you know, so many people other people have been to like El Salvador and elsewhere. You know, like it's bad. You know, like there's just like, I mean, like I say, it's just the latest in the ramping up of American fascism.
It's a worrying level of velocity for the imperial violence returning to the core. Like, it's going at an uncomfortable speed.
Yeah, and just a little bit of info on Huerta. He leads the Service Employees International Union's United Service Workers West, which represents 45,000 workers, including janitors, security officers, and airport staff. So, yeah, they couldn't disappear this guy because he's a bit too big of a, big cheese to disappear like that. But, other people will probably not get off so lightly. I suppose we'll see in the coming days and weeks what the extent of ICE et al. Have done to people who've been protesting there, rounding up of random people who have again not done anything except be non-white. Just another example of
top tip. It's like, they're coming for the not white people now. If you think that is where they will stop, I have some other surprises for you.
Oh, well, speaking of where will this stop, there was also a video of an ICE agent literally, wielding, aiming, and shooting a rubber bullet at an ABC reporter with video, and the reporter's own agency, when the story broke, comes down with an acute bout of passive voice, titling their article on the event like this: "Reporter hit by rubber bullet while covering ICE protests." Great headline.
Very cool.
Yeah, another part of the article also read, "An officer behind her raised a weapon and fired in her direction, hitting her with the rubber bullet." Just what is the media and
Cause
what
and
is its purpose?
Dies in the media. Like, there's never a through line.
Yeah.
Ever. Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Well, I wish that guy good luck in his future career as an IDF soldier.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget that various American police departments literally train with the IDF. Like, that's what happened with George Floyd. That was an IDF restraining technique that was deployed, I use that word advisedly, against him, which caused him to be killed.
Yeah. But there's like endless long-term cooperation between like various police departments, and specifically like the IDF and the militarized police they use to like fucking, patrol the borders of Gaza and the West Bank. Like, that's like, Israeli trainers have like infested American law enforcement for like 20 years by now.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's think back to our, when we watched Justified, and there's the hostage episode where they say, yeah, the Israelis would have just gone in there and killed them all by now. Like, it's you know, representative of where some American police were all those years ago, but like that is where they are now. And yeah, just to bring it back to you know, our home turf, this sceptred isle. You know, the British government is still rolling over to show its belly. You just have to laugh. You know, claiming that they've won these, you know, huge exemptions on tariffs and then getting more tariffs fucking anyway. But we have the least worst amount of tariffs, a resounding political success story.
Hooray! Yeah.
And yeah, that's where we leave our international desk for today.
We're the least worst option is largely what Labour was trying to sell itself as.
No, they were trying to portray themselves as the only option. Like, that's all they've ever been.
I mean, they still are, because they're all trying to still do that stupid thing where they brand themselves with, like, parliamentary green, and I'm just like, hello, I am a member of parliament. Of what party, you ask? No, yeah. I am parliament. I am you.
Oh, it's actually good, because I am the state. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yep. Only good things happen when people say, I am the state.
Yeah. It will only be good when we say it.
Well, this is true. Let's look at some of the fun things that Labour have been getting up to, because whenever I get left to do the nuggets, I'm going to go and see what Labour's fucked up this week, obviously, and I have a full smorgasbord of utter bullshit to feed you. Can I interest you both in ID cards?
I fucking love them. I'll take 3.
You'll take 3. How many more will you take, Rob, if I tell you they're digital?
Ooh, well then they're infinitely reproducible goods for pennies, so I will take 5 million.
5 million, excellent. What if I told you that we were going to call them Brit cards?
Oh, fuck off!
I don't want them anymore. Now I'm embarrassed to be seen with
that's
them.
fucked it. Okay, right. I'll try one more thing to get you back on board. What if the digital ID cards, called Brit Card, were proposed by Labour together?
No, I don't want them anymore.
I mean,
you got me all excited.
Just such an incredibly adept group of, you know, political strategists who looked at British Rail and decided, nope, not British enough. Great British Rail. That's the new name for this thing that we have already had that was already very Britishy. But no. Brit card, Brit coin, Brit chair, Brit desk, Brit podcast. Fuck off.
Yes, we live in hell. So this is the latest proposal from the Labour Together wank tank. It is being proposed to combat the evil scourge which plagues Britain of visa overstayers. Because that's bad.
Why?
Apparently also, that's a problem.
How many are there? Just...
Oh, none of the articles I looked into actually gave the figure on that. But they'll say it's because they just don't know. But this would let them know. So it must be a problem if they've thought of it. But it will very handily prevent something like Windrush happening again.
You can't burn something digital. That's what I've learned. That's what NFTs are for, right?
Yes. It's bold of a Labour government to say we don't want something like that to happen again after causing it in the first place, but never mind. I'm sure there's nothing to look into in that thing, and it won't come back up as I'm talking about this. So
right up until some fucking like Doge adjacent, Labour rip-off in, well, I was going to say in 5 years, but we both know they won't be fucking government then.
Yeah. A young Wes Streeton with a broccoli haircut is going to fucking press delete on all of this and just make it so that no one actually technically is allowed to live here.
Yeah, the entire British state has to manage all of its bureaucracy from one terabyte SSD, and they've got to make space for all those fucking pispos or whatever the fuck they're introducing next week.
I was just having a quick
Unfortunately,
look.
Britain is now allowed to say "fuck off, we're full" because we formatted this on FAT32.
So apparently, this is from the Migration Observatory, which sounds fascist fuck, but is apparently something
really
to
does.
do with like the University of Oxford, which I'm not going to say does not make it like not fascist, but you know maybe it's like
on
not
the
as
contrary.
A university couldn't possibly be racist.
But yeah, apparently for like visa overstays,
Ask us about our skulls.
the Home Office discontinued statistics to like exit checks for visas after 2020 because of Brexit and then the pandemic, because they said, well, because of those, like the numbers can no longer be trusted. So are there people overstaying on their visa? Probably yes. How many? Question mark.
How many? The answer is, who cares?
Not also that, but like
the number is above zero. Therefore, this is a problem that we feel equipped to deal with.
Yeah, right. So this should be a free secure digital ID, which would be stored on your smartphone using the planned gov.uk wallet app.
Oh.
Finally,
the government is making a real wallet. It is digital though, so it's technically not real.
Honestly, like this is going to put legions of honest to goodness wallets inspectors out of business, because it's like, can I see your phone? It's going to be no.
No, there will be ways to inspect the wallet. Don't worry. The wallet though will be called Brick Card because
yeah.
Here's
my Brit wallet with my Brit coins and my Brit cards and my Brit ID.
Yeah. My photo of Liam Gallagher.
Why don't we just fucking cut out the middleman? If you're white, you get a big stamp on your forehead that just says Brit, and if you're not white, you get non-Brit, and that's your lot. That's how we're going to differentiate now.
Sounds like adding extra steps, really, but yeah.
Free up room on the hard drive.
There's going to be a free verifier app to go along with this, because again, of course there will. And that'll be made to work with the BritCard app so that you can show your BritCard to all of your favourite people when they demand it, such as employers,
cool,
the immigration services,
my
banks,
friends,
and landlords.
Oh, excellent! How lovely!
My God, is that a government IT project contract music I hear?
Yeah. So I've pulled some stuff from The Guardian here. They've got some very choice quotes. Whether or not it's on purpose, I don't know. But then again, sometimes when these people just open their fucking face hole, they say the worst shit anyway. So the analysis in the paper found that the ID cards, a hugely controversial policy proposal during Tony Blair's era, would make right to rent and right to work checks quicker and easier for tenants and employees.
Oh, great! Oh, so the convenience is on the side of the tenant. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, this onerous burden.
I get it.
Yeah, this onerous burden we've placed on anyone who wants to live and work in this country would simply be made easier with an app, not with rolling back the fucking transformation of fucking employers and your landlord into the part of the border force. Fucking, pull the other one.
Labour together said that as well as helping to tackle illegal migration, it would also have a progressive benefit. Of giving people a clear way of proving they belonged in the country.
How is that a progressive benefit?
Presuming, of course, that they have a smartphone.
Yes, presuming. They said the introduction of a digital ID for all citizens was progressive because it gives our residents and citizens the cast iron guarantees that they have not previously had.
Right.
Wow.
So the next time a bunch of like EDL thugs decide to set fire to like a place where refugees are held, then maybe all they need to do is show their phone out of the burning window, and then everybody will go home because they're like, well, these people have right to remain. Cool.
Also, I love the implicit threat in this that at the moment we can just deport you for any fucking reason we choose.
Yeah. the quote goes on, assuming at this point they were wearing like a big pair of glasses with like spirals in them. This is your country. You have a right to be here. This will make your life easier. It is at the heart of the social contract, end quote.
Wow.
But the report's author and the think tank's director of technology, Kirsty Innes, said, a progressive society can only work if we have meaningful borders.
Oh my fucking god! Oh, yeah, fuck off!
Society
Christ
can
alive.
only exist if we arm and militarize the border to keep the filthy, swarthy barbarians out, and all of the well-to-do, well-meaning white people in. Yeah.
Yep. Brickcard would make it far harder to flout the illegal work and illegal rent rules, and far easier to identify and punish exploitative illegal employers and landlords.
Right.
Oh,
What's the name again?
what's
This brain genius's name again, David?
Kirsty Innes.
Right, Kirsty, just like, here's a little top tip for you, because like it's already how that works with like farm labor and stuff. The bad bosses and the bad like landlords, like, you know, Jas Athwal, the slum landlord, and also, you know, Labour MP, they don't care about immigration status. They will simply not ask to see your phone while you're picking asparagus for, you know, 2p an hour. That's kind of how that's always worked. It won't stop anybody.
Oh, I wonder if there's a way to...
But then you see, they will simply ask when arrested, why have you not checked their phone? As if they don't already get asked, why have you not checked their papers? You know, I mean, this actually doesn't add anything. Obviously, it was never going to add anything. It's just a different way of doing things that already exist.
I mean, they just got a fucking... They just have a fucking hard-on for ID cards, because it's the one thing Tony Blair didn't get to do in his premiership that, for some reason, everyone in that fucking cult has decided was like... You know, if it were, but for ID cards, it would have been 1,000 years of Tony Blair. Like, man, yeah. Like they had 15 years, nearly 20 years to come up with literally any idea. And I feel like we say this every time we talk about the fucking Labour Party. It's just reheated dog shit from 2004 or whatever. That, you know, didn't pass muster then, doesn't fucking make any sense now. Solving a problem that, I mean, you know, is a bad problem in the sense that, you know, there are migrant workers who are treated terribly. The brick card will mean that they're not here anymore. I mean, first of all, I don't believe you. Second of all, fuck off.
And third of all, even if those people do end up leaving because they don't have a Brit card, these people, as I was trying to say before, will find someone else to exploit. And guess what? It might be you.
Yeah, well, it won't be any of these cunts, and that's all that really matters, though. Morgan Wilde, Labour Together's chief policy advisor, said, the state makes everyone, whether they are a British citizen or not, prove their right to work or rent. And that's just an immutable fact. Nothing can be done about that. Like, we just have to live with that.
Never trust a Morgan in the Labour Party.
No. But we don't give everyone with the right to be here the ability to prove it. You do. Anyone can apply for, like, a passport or...
Also, you shouldn't have to. Let's just start from the basic premise of, like, when you're walking down the fucking road, nobody should have the fucking right to stop you and say, hello, sir or madam, do you belong here? You should just, like, be able to go about your fucking business. You know, that is what some people would call, like, a liberal principle or something.
Yeah, that's all well and good, but have you considered that a lot of the freaks in the Labour Party very much would like to have the authority to say papier and bitter?
Like, yeah,
that
it's
just
to
wait. I need to finish this quote. Right? That leads to discrimination. So you not having a Brit card leads to discrimination. We've solved it, everyone. It's all over.
We solved racism.
Yep. That leads to discrimination, unjust deportation, and, as happened in the worst Windrush cases, dying in a country that is not your own. We are now using that to defend the policies of the people who made that happen.
Are we doing ID cards would have prevented Windrush?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yes.
Well, that's...
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
if
A
only,
national
if only,
effort to provide everyone with proof of their right to be here. Brickcard can stop that from ever happening again.
If only they had smartphones in the 1960s. If only it's someone had invented apps, this could have been prevented.
Yeah, shocking, really, but there you go.
I mean, this is not the most egregious bit of state propaganda we'll hear today, because that will come during our main topic, but that's pretty fucking sick, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's fucking bad, like. The next part, that's the label to come. That's some of the future misery. Let's look over some of the current and past misery.
Is Labour to come a new fucking think tank? Because...
No, I don't want to think about that one. No, this is the Guess Who Fucked It Power Hour, everyone. Rachel Reeves, when she gave her autumn statement last year, good news, the line has gone up.
Oh, that's good news. I love it when line go up, because I was told that the growth would pay for all the nice things we were going to get.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The line that's went up is the unemployment one.
But that's not a good line.
Wait a minute, surely that can't be right. Surely it must have been massaged into a positive number.
The number is definitely positive. The number is currently 4.6%. Hooray! So this is massively off the back of the autumn statement and the things that Rachel Reeves said and did, and there is basically no way for that to be denied. So 250,000 jobs have been lost since the autumn statement, and 109,000 of them were last month, which, funnily enough, is the period after the national insurance changes come in.
Oh, good.
Okay, well, I mean, that's got to be coincidence then.
Well, total coincidence, yeah, definitely, yeah. So that was the rise in national insurance contributions that employers would pay, so it was like, oh, we'll never pass it on to the workers, don't be silly, they won't get it. But the businesses did, and there was about 1 million of them affected by it. Now,
that seems like a lot.
Yeah, it's not ideal to get almost half of all the losses in that one little period there, but never mind. The other thing to mention about this as well is that 4.6% figure. That's the highest since July 2021. And I thought, I wonder if there was anything that happened in July 2021 that made it so high then, and that was when the furlough scheme began to ramp down, and it wasn't basically free to keep people employed. So, yeah, that's the only reason that it's as high as that, is because of when the furlough scheme. Otherwise, it would actually be a pre-COVID number, employment record. So, well done.
I mean, it's just, incredible politics from, again, the party that has had no new ideas for 20 odd years now. You
fool.
Oh no, we cannot raise.
Buffoon. Rachel Reeves did have an idea. She had one great big idea on how to invest money. Growth. Was to use pension pots. It's pension pots, Rob.
Oh shit! All right,
pension pots will create the growth. So there was
Christ
supposed to
alive!
be
But this is not a new.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is also not a new idea. This is the same fucking stupid idea that every government has had for the last also 20 to 40 years, which is to say, what if we just use the pension pots, because the pension pots are always the answer. They've been the answer since Margaret Thatcher. One of the reasons you get all the money released into the stock market is because Thatcher loosened the rules of what fucking pensions were allowed to do. This is not new. This is just Thatcher shit again, but we're just Rob, scraping the bottom of same.
It didn't work for them, but maybe this time it'll work for us. It won't. There's £160 billion apparently expected of surplus funds that are going to be available to get punted into investment schemes and growth schemes. And the civil service has done a report on that, and it turns out that actually there's going to be about £8.4 billion available rather than the 160. Maybe it'll go up to 11 if things work out well. That'll be really good. And the reason for this is that, you know, the solution to releasing all this money is we're going to cut a bunch of red tape. Yeah. Which is code for we're going to financially deregulate everything, like Rob said.
Yeah, I mean, every time it's the same thing. This is just like the latest iteration. Yeah. It's like, we are desperate for money. We don't think the state can or should spend any. If business doesn't want to spend any, what's the last big jar that's left? That's pension funds. What if we've talked about this on like several episodes in the past about several of these schemes. It's like, what if we just trim back the rules so that like the people running your pension, who are now obviously bound by very strict laws as to what they can invest in and how they can use, I say again, your pension money, if you have one, there's a reason those things are bound by very strict laws, because it is, you know, your entire retirement and your ability to survive past your working life. Yeah, what if those rules just kind of didn't need to be there? Because I'm sure those guys over there know what they are doing, because, you know, they want to sell me all this fucking Bitcoin.
Yeah, but Rob, I mean, look at it this way. It's a lot of money, isn't it? You could just take that money.
Can you imagine?
You could just take that money and put it somewhere else.
On a kitchen table.
I mean, there's got to be at least £100 coins in there somewhere. You know, like it's an unthinkable amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, I would simply, you know, make it mandatory. I think the one thing that would actually increase economic growth is to make it mandatory for every pensioner to have, you know, a Patreon subscription to patreon.com/Praxiscast.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Cheese is fucking expensive.
Subscribe to Praxiscast at patreon.com/Praxiscast.
So it's going to be a really low number compared to what it should have been, and the reason for that is that the way that this will be deregulated is going to allow all of these pension trusts, etc., to offload all of their liabilities onto insurance companies. Yay! So, like, I suppose there's some, like, element of guarantee in that, which is, like, I suppose good in a way, but also none of this is helpful in any real meaningful way. None of it's actually going to end up being good. And if anything happens to the point where insurance companies really need to get involved in massive pension pots, everything's fucked anyway, so it's kind of a moot point. None of this is effectively good in any meaningful way. It's all just dog shit. But it's very funny because it's a spending review tomorrow, and her entire big pot of free money has just basically been wiped out.
I mean, that is very funny right up until the moment these people once again to fucking decide that, you know, the bedroom tax should now include all bedrooms, basically.
Oh, fucking Jesus.
But to be fair, ideologically that was on the cards anyway, so who the fuck knows what bullshit's going to come out tomorrow. Presumably no money for you and fuck you. And on the note of the autumn statement, as I said earlier on, I just want to give a quick little call back to the winter fuel allowance. They have now said what it's going to be. I think we did this a couple of weeks ago. 35k on this. Yeah. So there is a reduced threshold on the whole thing now. Fuck you if you fall outside of that. Some dipshit with a fucking clipboard and a bow tie will tell me that, well, actually they don't need to be paying that if they get more than £35,000. Fuck up. Like, I don't care. It should be a universal benefit and you should shut the fuck up.
Just going to quickly Google, are you tax liable for your pension income? Oh, there's just one word has come up and it says yes.
But the reason that I'd like to do part of this, other than the fact it's a very funny U-turn for them to do, is I want to just pull out some quotes from pod favourite Ed Miliband, who was wheeled out to eat all of the shit on this for Rachel Reeves,
the man,
I mean, said fuck all.
The man has, I mean, a remarkable stamina for just eating like bags and bags and bags of shit. Like,
yeah. He said, "We've changed the threshold, listening to the strength of feeling that people had. I think Rachel Reeves deserves credit for that. She's heard the strength of feeling that people have. She said it can be accommodated within our overall fiscal figures, and that's why she made the change."
Oh, is that why? Okay, it's not eating like an entire bag of dicks during the recent local elections.
No, nothing to do with that. Asked if the initial change was a mistake, Miliband said, "No, she took a whole series of decisions to stabilise the nation's finances. Just put yourself, you freezing pensioner, in the shoes of the Chancellor. She came into office confronted by a whole series of spending commitments that the last government had made, which they had no idea how they were paying for. And she was being told, you've got to take action to show that we're going to stabilise the nation's finances. Not to do it, just to show that you will. She initially did winter fuel, then she did a whole series of other changes in the budget. That's the context for this."
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah. No. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah. It's great. He also defended Reeves setting out how the government would meet the cost later this year at the budget. It's perfectly normal for a chancellor to set out at a fiscal event how all the figures add up. This is a relatively small amount of money.
Then why did you do it in the first place?
And the Chancellor took a whole series of decisions in the budget last autumn.
This is a critical amount of extremely necessary money, to fucking starve grannies or like, I don't know, fucking chill them to death because, like, you need to show the bond markers that you're so fiscally responsible, and this is like, a blood sacrifice worth making. Or it's a tatchy amount of money that didn't really matter in the first place.
Yep.
Like, fuck my life.
You see, he's playing both sides, so he always comes out on top.
Well, I mean, we can just cut straight through this, really, can't we? It's something Rachel Reeves has wanted to do for, at the very least, over a decade, and it is apparently the political cost has been too large for even Rachel Reeves to bite down on that particular pile of shit. So they've had to actually wind their necks in.
The political titan that she is. The Chancellor took a whole series of decisions in the budget last autumn, some of which people have complained about, tax rises on business and the wealthy, to create the room for manoeuvre to make the change in the threshold that she did. So it's now just a change to the threshold. It's not a U-turn. Everything's fine. Ed Miliband looks like he has aged 1,000 years in the last year. He is effectively now fucking withers.
But, oh, for fuck's sake. Just, I don't know, like, I'm not a Labour political strategist because, I have, I think, a soul, but, like, just, I can never understand why not just, like, why you can't just simply go out and just say, I'm sorry, we fucked this one up really badly, and, like, we've just... we've seen that everybody fucking hates and despises us now, so we're doing the thing that, like, a democracy is supposed to do, which is be somewhat responsible to the needs and wants of the voters.
I mean, it is funny to think that in, 15 years ago, if Labour had come out and said, we've made a big fuck up, we shouldn't have done this or that policy. Like, the Tories would obviously massively capitalise on that. But, like, Kemi Badenoch is just so completely insane that, like, that doesn't even, like, register on her radar of something that's even worth talking about if they were to make that kind of announcement rather than, whatever this Ed Miliband piss is. The Tories are still around, aren't they? They're just hanging out, aren't they?
I mean, like, I think they are, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't even matter what they do with this at this point. It's all fucked, and there's no recovering from it because you've got Nigel Farage saying, oh yeah, I'd get rid of the 2-child cap, fuck that shit. Like, it's so easy. Oh yeah, we'll put fucking little bricks in for the birds and the houses, that's fine. No bother.
Yeah.
Like, the easiest shit, and Labour just constantly double down on, actually, we're terrible at this.
It's just, yeah, I mean, Farage is getting the easy mode now that Starmer got like 2 years ago. It is, if it wasn't horrifying and, fucking Farage and his band of fascists, it would be very, very funny.
Yeah. The funny thing about the easy ride, though, is that easy ride perpetuated into and through the entire election, and I'm sure they won't repeat that exact same cycle with Farage this time round.
Yeah, no, don't worry about that.
Anyway, for more impending fascism, Rob.
Yeah, so I did the thing which I think, I read the thing again. So last week, I think it was last week, the
military economicon.
The UK government, announced that it would be making Britain safer, secure at home, and strong abroad. That is the title of the UK's.
Is that muscular liberalism again? Oh boy!
It is that muscular, fucking sexy, yoked liberalism. It's Liver King liberalism, if you will.
Oh my god! Macron with a 6-pack and guns. Whoa! Look at that.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, him and Starmer are both little manlets, so it does make about sense. No, I read the UK Strategic Defence Review because security begins at home, and the path to change, or whatever it's called again, the plan for change rests on the foundation of security at home.
And the side quest of integrity. Yep.
Yeah. So basically,
Security at Home with music by Jordan.
So yeah, this is the Strategic Defence Review. It is essentially, this is a summary from the House of Commons Library. A defence review enables the government to present a forward-looking assessment of Britain's strategic interests and requisite military requirements. It's essentially like a big, long, it's 180 pages, piece of work that says, this is the state of the armed forces, this is the state of the world, this is where we think it's going, therefore we think our armed forces should be adapted for this as well.
Weird how they managed to turn the word fucked like 4 times into 180 pages. Really big font on that shit.
I mean, essentially, we had one not that long ago. I think that one was initiated by Liz Truss, but obviously we needed a brand new one. Obviously, first because Labour wanted a lot of photo ops with, soldiers and people in camouflage, and Keir Starmer looking like a fucking clown.
Yeah, with, photos next to, airmen running missions over a genocide.
Exactly. Well, And I think the other reason that's more, pertinent and more important is, the previous one was very much like, oh, we will be, securing the Indo-Pacific and the threat of China and all that stuff. But, that was all kind of dependent on the Americans being around.
Is it fucking 1840? What is going on?
Well, it's also probably very highly influenced by the fact that Trump got elected. Because I think there was an earlier draft of this thing that was predicated on the Democrats winning, and now they had to go back to the drawing board because this thing was delayed a few times.
I'm really looking forward to the second Opium War, except it's only the second Opium War because all our guys were in Afghanistan for too long.
Well, I mean, you were just mentioning like the spy flights that go from Cyprus and fly over Gaza to gather intel for the Israelis. Alasdair, I think you'll find out that among the things this paper does, it praises the UK Air Force specifically for its innumerable strengths, including, and this is a direct quote from the paper, airdropping aid for the Palestinian people in Gaza.
Why?
Go fuck yourself.
Why is it necessary to airdrop aid into Gaza, Mr. Military Review person? Why is that necessary? Yeah. Why are British planes having to fly over the borders of Gaza and drop supplies and aid?
Yeah, also
you don't understand, Alasdair. We're very good at it because we know exactly where all the Palestinian people are. Don't ask how.
It's such fucking shit.
I mean,
man.
It's actually really difficult to drop aid into Gaza because you've got to make sure to avoid all the fucking drones that are constantly buzzing around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't want to make sure a drone doesn't get damaged. I mean, fucking hell.
In terms of like the writing and the style, it's fucking atrocious. It repeats like all its main points every third page because I think they just kind of, correctly assume that most journalists have, no attention span, but it makes it almost impossible to read.
I don't know if it may have occurred to you when you were reading it, but does it smell like ChatGPT?
No, I don't think this. I think ChatGPT would do a better editing job of this. That's really fucking saying something.
Fuck.
And like quite a lot of it, especially in the beginning and in some of the more.
Let's dive right in.
Some of the very specific parts is like a lot of it is like this diagnosis of like what's wrong with the army today, and like I've simply skipped all of that, and I'm just here to tell you, why don't you listen back to our entire back catalogue, because like we've chronicled a lot of what is wrong with the UK MOD over the years. So there's just 300.
The Ajax.
Yeah, I mean the carrier, the comm system, it's the everything else, like the recruitment. Except for this bit, which
complete lack of a fucking fleet auxiliary. Yeah.
Except for this bit, which is certainly, I think, one way you could describe, very briefly, the UK's last few decades of military adventures. Basically, quote: "The UK last faced a direct military threat from a highly capable state adversary during the Cold War. Since then, it has largely relied on an expeditionary approach to disrupt potential threats before they could reach Europe." And that's interesting
a really
way
fucked up way of saying invading.
Yeah. And in one of the great sort of classics that we've seen from like many government white papers from this government and previous is, they talk a lot about like the military industrial complex, and, and once again, this paper is like riddled with references to, like, oh, we'll build a munitions plant. It'll have 1,000 guaranteed highly skilled jobs, You remember when fucking British Vault was guaranteeing 10,000, highly skilled British jobs? It smells of that, like, all the time.
Lovely.
Yeah, so before we get to, like, the finer detail, first, a brief word from Sir Keir Starmer, Prime Minister and Primarch, I think, for this particular speech.
I'm sorry, but Rob, but the fucking Keir Starmer Primarch. Oh, well, I mean, it would make sense that he was like flung to a far corner of the galaxy and had no contact with actual human beings for Earth for thousands of years before mysteriously returning one day.
Yeah, he was raised by a mysterious species of sentient briefcases.
Yeah, so the emblem for our Legion of Space Marines is the briefcase, weirdly enough.
I'll just give you the first line because this is essentially a bigger question that I have with a lot of these documents. "My first duty as Prime Minister is to keep the British people safe. That is why national security is the foundation of this government's plan for change." And just as a side note, I still don't know what the plan for change is. Is it simply just to change the things that need changing? That is the change he will bring, or like has that? Is there a document that describes the plan for change? Because I see that line everywhere all the time.
Yeah, no, there is definitely. I'm pretty sure that we covered it in one of the like 40 times we covered the relaunch.
Oh shit! Was it the one where it had the 5 missions and the 2 targets and the 7 subquests and the 10 bear asses?
No. Yeah. So at the moment, it is the plan for change milestones for mission-led government. And those
okay.
Strong foundations, kickstarting economic growth, and NHS fit for the future. Make Britain a clean energy superpower. Break down barriers to opportunity and safer streets. So I think of all of them, it probably fits into either strong foundations or kickstarting economic growth.
Okay, all right,
I don't know which one.
All right,
I do like the idea that each time they do a relaunch, the concept just gets more vague, like the most annoying kind of Yankee Candle.
Well,
this Labour government represents a silken breeze on a summer's eve. Like, okay, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Well, speaking of vague things that I think like have clearly been rewritten 7 times and then everybody just like gave up and went home, this is a very weird sentence. We must recognize the very nature of warfare is being transformed on the battlefields of Ukraine and adapt our armed forces and our industry to lead this innovation.
So drones.
The planes are very small now. Okay.
Yeah, but like it just grammatically makes absolutely no fucking sense. But like it
yeah, obviously it's stupid, but also there's no longer a little guy in there.
And also we get like what I like to think of is the scary sentence, quote, "We need to see the biggest shift in mindset in my lifetime to put security and defense front and center to make this the fundamental organizing principles of government." I love it when the government puts, defense and security at the heart of everything it does. I'm sure there's like words to describe that kind of state. I just can't think of them at the moment.
There's at least 10 words that could describe that, and probably less than 15.
Also, like, I like it when the fundamental organizing principle of government is security and defense, whatever, so that can't work grammatically. Instead of, stupid things like health, climate, providing in general for the welfare of people, none of that, just guns, just bombs, drones,
I honestly can't. I keep rereading that. You put security and defense front and center. That is awful language.
Yeah.
Who signed off on this garbage?
It reads like one of those documents that like
big combat jacket.
It reads like one of those like things where somebody did like a first pass and then like, it was a document that was like 90% read with, track changes. And then by the time those were all accepted, it was just like unreadable basically. And that's where we ended up here.
Yeah.
And then my notes simply say Paul Mason explodes in a geyser of cum.
Yeah, I mean, that's what
Paul
you get.
Mason third impact.
Yeah, that's what you get for thinking about this from a Marxist perspective.
Quote Keir Starmer, "Our experience of the pandemic exposed the vulnerabilities of relying on international just-in-time supply chains and required a whole-of-society response. In that spirit of COVID, we must drive a new partnership with industry and a radical reform of procurement, creating jobs, wealth, and opportunity in every corner of our country. This is the defense dividend, which we are determined to seize."
Oh, fuck off.
Fuck off! Jesus Christ.
It's military Keynesianism, everybody. It's that thing.
Britain.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off. Like, and I'm sorry, but did COVID demonstrate
this is the other thing. It's like
problems with the interruption of, like, not to go all fucking Femi on this, but like, was it really COVID that showed us how weak, like, our links to just-in-time industrial, like, procurement actually is, when you don't have like a large established trading bloc to operate within a standardised set of rules? Well,
some hospitals ended up with bin bags for PPE, and some people walked away incredibly wealthy. So, like, who can say if it was bad or not?
And also, like, I mean, if we do, I mean, I think we were all, some version of alive during COVID. Do you remember when, the pandemic and the reform of supply chains created jobs and wealth and opportunity in every part of the country? Because I do not remember that happening whatsoever, not even a little bit.
That may have passed me by for some reason.
And like, and I will repeat this until I'm fucking sick of hearing myself, which, to be fair, is quite often. But like, if you spend your money and you state money and you build a big plant in, I don't know, fucking Wootton Bassett or somewhere outside Liverpool, or like, you know, Caterham, or I don't care, pick a place. And like that factory, yes, it will create jobs, because yes, you will need, you know, building bombs is not that easy. You'll need some electricians, you'll need some engineers. Like, some people will have like decent paying jobs. The problem is the end result of all defense spending is the same thing. You don't have a useful, good product at the end. All you have is a device or a thing that explodes and, you know, kills children. Whereas if you employed those same people and had them, say, build a hospital or HS2 or, you know, any of the million things this fucking country, or a water reservoir, say, any of the million fucking things the UK actually needs, then, you know, you'd have a good thing at the end instead of a bomb in a shed.
You see, Rob, but Rob, if you would simply join the army, then you too could use the things that were made. See, that's the failure of the British people, is they just won't join the army.
Well, actually, I was going to mention this later, but I'll just mention it now. The report does also mention, like we have before in previous podcasts, that, you know, the UK army and like all branches essentially have an endemic recruiting crisis, because like nobody wants to join the army. You know, as you know,
I wonder
why would you? Quote the report, the MOD faces a long-standing recruitment and retention crisis. Young people today want different things from their employers, including more flexibility and hybrid working. They expect
and not to
change...
facilitate a fucking genocide. I might
possibly
have
also
made
that.
some kind of a register there. I mean, I don't know. I'm just a simple country bumpkin who's never been to like a military base in my life, but like, I can't imagine most kids are, like, you know, people under the age of 20 or whatever are particularly keen on playing any kind of role in fucking just the greatest war crimes this century has seen.
Yeah, but you know, otherwise, young people also, quote the report again, expect to change jobs multiple times throughout their careers. Critically, they also have fewer connections to the... Yeah, we simply love changing. We simply love
want to, or expect it will be forced upon them. Which is
they expect to. Expect to.
Yeah, all right, okay. Passive voice.
Critically, they also have fewer connections to the armed forces. There is no quick fix to these challenges. The report then simply proceeds to leave that there and not mention this business ever again.
Oh,
where are we going to get the soldiers from? You're so pretty. Don't you worry. Don't you worry about it.
deal.
Anyway, basically, the biggest change from the last one, because the last one couldn't stop shutting the fuck up about the Indo-Pacific region, which was going to be the turning point, the fulcrum of the world. You know, would we be able to contain China? Would we be able to, you remember that's why we built those aircraft carriers and then on their maiden voyage sent them to like, the Far East. It was basically to show China our new toys and say, be careful, or else this boat that runs out of diesel will simply sputter in front of your coast for a little bit.
Please maintain a safe distance from this aircraft carrier. It has no aircraft aboard and is incapable of launching any.
P.S. Maybe borrow some diesel because we need to get home tonight.
Is that why we're fucking around with the Chagos Islands again?
Yeah, but apart from that, it's a refueling and like it's a big radar dome as well. Again, see previous episodes. But yeah, so the last one was all about the Indo-Pacific region. It now barely gets one paragraph on page 78 of this report. Apparently, China not so much as threat. No, of course, the big threat now is either by Gargamel and or Russia. It's not entirely clear who. Basically, it's just like an evil guy in a tower who wants bad things.
Oh, okay.
Quote the report, the Strategic Defense Review signifies a landmark shift in our deterrence and defense, moving to war-fighting readiness to deter threats and strengthen security in the Euro-Atlantic.
Oh,
we are no longer in the Indo-Pacific. We are just in the Euro-Atlantic now. We have, simply turned the globe 180 degrees and pointed.
So we are now preparing for a war that will most assuredly be entirely nuclear.
Well,
by building lots of guns.
It will
and
more
bombs
likely
and ships.
be a hybrid war with drones and AIs and integrated flimflams.
No, it won't.
No, it will. Shut up.
No. Why
this
can't these people just be obsessed with how quick can a tank get across the fucking Fulda Gap? Like, why can't we just do normal things rather than how many chat GPTs can we plug into a fucking drone before it becomes sentient and kills itself for being British?
Well, there's a lot of mention of AI in this thing, but we'll get there in a little bit.
Oh my god!
But first, I
look forward to them, I look forward to them creating like an integrated Skynet that can interface with all like military hardware produced by the in Britain. But they overlook the fucking user guidelines or whatever for ChatGPT, where I can't use the word kill or murder in that context. Could you please try again?
Yeah. The original series of Terminators were easily spotted as they fell apart in front of our fucking eyes.
But yeah, I do want to not wrap up one of our plot threads, but give you a little bit of follow up. Essentially, I know we're now all about the Euro-Atlantic, but Britain's poor carriers do still get a look in at least. Quote: "Our aircraft carriers will become the first European hybrid air wing with fast jets, long range weapons, and drones." Which, if you've been following this long saga of those things, it means we don't have the money to buy all the F-35s we need, or to build the supply ships, or to have enough, frigates and submarine hunters to keep our big boat safe. Therefore, we need to make them, European hybrid air wings, because without the French ships in particular, our carriers are dog shit and won't go anywhere.
Yeah, and they don't really go anywhere anyway. Is this basically a way to say we are now installing a pre-made runway in fucking Southampton?
I mean, that would be very fun, yes.
Because that's effectively all these are going to be. We're not going to fucking use... Where will they even go? Honestly, how much of a fucking lead-in time does a jet get from the middle of the North Sea beyond just launching from fucking RAF Lookers? How much extra time does that buy? It's fucking pointless. Shut up, stop being fucking pricks. Sick of this, man.
The other thing is the review keeps talking about Britain leading in NATO in various forms and guises, which I think sort of seems to suggest that the UK...
What does that mean?
Is that jostling for the throne that... Donald
that the
Trump
Americans are leaving behind. Yes, I think that's what they mean.
Wow, I wonder how fucking great it's going to be to fucking destroy NATO. It needs to be obliterated from space, ideally. But a NATO without the US, what even the fuck is the point? Just a bunch of Boy Scouts with revolvers? What the fuck is going on?
I mean, the whole thing about that though is, it's just a bunch of fucking European countries, really, at the end of the day, after you take the US out of it. So, I mean, we've got really good relations with them and haven't fucked them over in, big organised talks between a group of them recently. So,
really going
presumably we've got a lot of political capital.
Really going on, the, pro-Remain line tonight, David.
I'm not wrong though. All we've done is shithoused in Europe for the last fucking 10 years.
Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, it's been longer than that, but yeah.
Well, what we really need to look forward to now is not the last 10 years. We need to look towards the world of tomorrow. So how does this review see the world evolving in towards 2040 essentially, and what does that mean for our armed services? And basically this is the I don't know, the British state saying, yeah, essentially what they're also saying is, yeah, the climate's fucked. Oh yeah, no, we're climate change is simply going to bring war and disasters. There'll be more migration because, and I love a good euphemism,
cool.
Quote, more frequent humanitarian disasters. Cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah, very cool. It's a shame that we don't have the time to do anything about that at the moment, so we need to prepare for this instead.
Yeah, and but good news. There will be more boats in the the Euro Atlantic because the Arctic will be ice free by 2040.
They're not small.
Yeah, but if you were worried, terrorism will still be an enduring threat.
Is that what we're calling in the next operation they're going to carry out over poison?
But also, and this is a thing that keeps cropping up in various places, there seems to be a really deliberate attempt to sort of mission creep from the armies there to fight in declared or otherwise wars and sort of things that you and I would sort of generally recognize as that is what we have an army for. But check this out now. Other things that will happen is uneven global demographic change, which is altering global power balances and driving domestic and regional instability, including through migration, urbanization, and new demands on governments for employment and social welfare support. This is one of the threats the army needs to be ready for by 2040.
Oh, the army needs to be ready for a race war. Okay.
Well, and also either a race war or a socialist uprising, because new demands for employment and social welfare support, that doesn't sound like 14 words. That sounds like, mild social democracy as presented by one Jake Robbins.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know that the powers are already well trained to deal with that kind of threat, so I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Yeah, so it just, so this is also fantastic. They list some of the major power blocks and what they think will be happening with them in the coming decades. I've skipped most of it, but I'll give you the headlines because they're so funny from the two most important ones. Russia, an immediate and pressing threat. China, a sophisticated and persistent challenge. Yeah, no. Russia, maybe, if we play nice with the Americans and everybody else. But no, China's gone way past our control. We fucked it, lads. We, we can't, control the Chinese, state anymore. No. I mean, we're way past that.
I mean, it's so... Whenever China comes up in a report, or, some fucking British politician starts... talking about China with a fucking torch under their face, like they're telling a fucking ghost story. And, it reminds me of that fucking story of the Chinese ambassador to, I think it's to the UK, basically saying, China doesn't give a shit about Britain. Britain's tiny. Yeah. China's huge. We're massive. What the fuck are you going to do about it? And when they were talking about, transferring Hong Kong back over to Chinese ownership, just... it's just fucking risible, isn't it? We just I know we're the sixth or seventh or whatever the fuck it is now, biggest economy in the world. But then you look at the fucking numbers and China on tens of trillions of dollars of GDP, and I know GDP is not a good number to measure any meaningful metric by, but it is very fucking funny.
Yeah, and I mean the Chinese government knows fine well that the only way that you need to do anything to actually harm Britain is delete about 6 spreadsheets. All we do is shuffle numbers around. That's the entire economy. We don't make anything.
No, obviously,
Yeah. I just think it's incredibly funny that, what is it, about 200 years after the end of the Opium Wars, the Chinese can just come back and say, Britain, no, I barely think
I live, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's wild as well, if we really want to compete with China, why don't we simply do our own Great Leap Forward? Why not just do all that shit? Why not just nationalise literally fucking every... Oh, wait, no.
I do like to amuse myself by thinking about, the kinds of reports that are going to come out when, the MOD has to reckon with the fact that we're no longer in a multipolar world. We're in the Chinese century, bitch. What the fuck?
Yeah.
The cope is going to be unreal.
Yeah. Keir Starmer going on television being like, I went to Xi Jinping and offered him all these silver tails, but he won't sell us tea. I don't know what to do anymore. So if you're asking what's new in this brand new world of the strategic and defense review, is for the army specifically, the army will be by 2035, quote, a leading tech-enabled defense power with an integrated force, that's capital I, capital F, that deters fights and wins through constant innovation at wartime pace. Join the mobile infantry today.
No, you won't. Like, wartime pay. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you think you're gonna innovate? Like, when's the last time Britain innovated anything in like an actual war? Like after World War II? Like ever? Have we ever done anything meaningful in terms of innovation? Even in like the art of murdering a bunch of people? Because like,
I'm sure we have.
We invented the concentration camp.
Yeah, there was.
I mean, to be fair, that did precede World War II.
Failed.
No, I mean, like, I'm sure that the British arms industry has created some new innovations. I can't think of one at the moment. I'm sure they did, but it's more like what this is like this is sort of a long-standing rebuke that's like a refrain throughout the review of like saying the UK army procurement is like useless and not fit for purpose because we built the Ajax and, similar. Like, it's a 20-year development cycle that doesn't work and produces shithouse results. So like when they say constant innovation at wartime pace, they mean we will, take the technologies of iteration and building from Silicon Valley, and therefore we will do agile, quick, blah, 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 that stuff.
Move fast in an up and down direction,
you won't, but,
some kind of vibration.
So, like the main thing you need to learn about
things.
The main thing you need to know about the army in 2035 is that it will be wall-to-wall tech. It will be so techy. It will be drones, and also AI. And these two things will, and this is from the foreword by John Healy, lead the heavy metal, i.e., our tanks and Ajaxes, etc., etc.
The lead poisoning.
And also, good news, Britain will have Skynet. It is through dynamic networks of crude, uncrewed, and autonomous assets and data flows that lethality and military effect are now created, with military systems making decisions at machine speed and acting flexibly across domains. What if we put ChatGPT into a drone? By the way, we're going to deepen our collaboration with Palantir, which I'm sure is a very normal company. No, I haven't checked it recently.
Like, the computer is not supposed to make a decision. That's like the fucking key point.
Yeah, but
you're not supposed to let it do that.
David, hear me out. What if it did?
Bad.
A land of contrasts.
But, on the plus side, if we do have like AI everywhere by 2030, some 5,000, quote, military personnel and civil servants currently in roles of human resource, finance and commercial functions can move into frontline roles. I'm sure the Army HR staff will be delighted to learn that they too will be sitting in a ditch somewhere.
I mean, well, that's not even what that means. That just means that they're going to be sitting with a fucking PlayStation controller for the period.
Yeah.
They
I mean, also that,
to run the AI. Like, we know that. To be fair, I mean, some of the like absolutely like inhuman people who end up working in human resources, I can fully understand that they would be completely nonplussed to learn that today you'll actually be massacring civilians or whatever.
Yeah,
like, they will do that quite happily, so long as they still get a lunch break.
So, all this brings us, and I think, you were all at this point clamoring to learn, what is the plan for change for the UK military establishment? It, of course, because this is a Labour government, consists of 5 subquests. The first is, we are NATO first, quote, stepping up on European security by leading in NATO with strengthened nuclear, new tech, and updated conventional capabilities.
Oh,
This
they're
is
going to
essentially-
are they going to make the nukes work this time?
Maybe. That is really unclear, but for many obvious reasons, they don't state it out loud, but you do get the sense from this paper that they do want to have like an actually independent nuclear missile system, i.e. one not run by the Americans. Like, I can't guarantee that is in there, but like a lot of the language that revolves around like nuclear weapons in this document sort of smells of that. Like, of course, they won't come out and say that for, all the obvious reasons, but like...
Well, did they not say at one point about putting them on fucking planes?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's just, at the moment, it's just unclear what they actually, like, mean with that, but I think, I mean, for one, they say we'll spend 15 billion on, like, even more nuclear missiles and upgrading the ones we already have. So, like, the bungs to that particular part of the world just keep on coming, essentially. And also we'll just have, because this is the only solution that Britain knows to any serious problem, we'll just have more boats. More fucking boats, more submarines, Got a problem? Throw a boat at it. That is the British
they're going to
way.
Elizabeth I this shit.
Yeah.
Quick, get Sweden on the phone.
yeah,
See if they'll
no,
send us, instead of sending us trees this time, they'll send us a bunch of fucking steel on that.
Yeah, apparently, according to the UK Defence Journal, discussions are underway between the UK and US regarding the acquisition of F-35A Lightning II aircraft capable of carrying tactical gravity nuclear bombs, which is a full-on escalation considering we don't currently have anything that does that at the minute. And don't...
we don't. No.
Bomber, we don't
Britain's,
put fucking nukes on that. That's...
Britain's nuclear deterrent is entirely submarine-based.
Submarines. Yeah. So this is a straight-up nuclear escalation if that happens.
Yeah, so like there's a lot of strange shit going on, but that is like that. So that's the first sub-quest, is to be NATO first. The second one is a move to warfighting readiness, establishing a more lethal integrated force equipped for the future and a strengthened homeland defense. They keep saying throughout this document that somehow, and I think it's mainly through like applying tech horseshit, the British Army will become 10 times more lethal. I don't know how, but like we will be, because drones.
Do they mean the sense of like for the people in the British Army?
It's very funny to say we're going to make the army 10 times more lethal. It's even funnier to say we're going to increase the lethality by 900%. Like, you're just making up fucking numbers. Own it.
Yeah, I mean...
What does that even mean?
I have no idea. I mean, they do define lethality somewhere. It's essentially like... I mean, it is exactly what you think it is, but like I don't understand how they get to like a 10x of that, basically.
None of this makes any fucking sense.
Now, but they will simply be 10 times more lethal. The other thing that I wanted to pluck out of this section, because it just delighted me to no end, is they say that every like soldier, sailor, and like, I don't know, pilot, Air Force person, RAF person in the UK Armed Forces will have access to, quote unquote, the secret cloud.
What the fuck does that?
That sounds like a drug. Like, yeah, we're gonna pump our soldiers and sailors full of drugs to make them even more deadly.
Does that mean
we'd leave up to the reader to decide?
Are they expanding army meal? Is that what that means?
No, it means that like every soldier, if they beat the ghost house by finding the secret exit, they'll be able to access the Star Road.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at the end of that, they will ascend to the secret cloud. I mean, what they mean is just basically like an info storage and sharing system that has like secret clearance for like all soldiers.
Is that
and
why
stuff.
the British Army's been advertising with fucking Mario Kart?
I
They've been
assume
doing
so.
What?
What?
Oh, did you not see this?
No,
Did you not
no.
see? Hang on a second.
What? What the fuck?
What the fucking Christ?
What the fucking fuck is that?
What? Is that the N64 as well version? Fucking.
Is that real?
Yeah,
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, listener, this is a British Army ad on Facebook with a British military vehicle photoshopped onto Rainbow Road with the text reading, "It's time to start your road to belonging. Let's-a go. Hashtag you belong here. Hashtag Mario Kart."
They're gonna get all the. This is like squarely marketed at someone who watches a lot of summoning salt videos. That's incredible.
I'm sorry, but like, there's no fucking way. I think that's a Boxer, the truck in front there. But like, there's no way that thing can like do the cornering necessary Rainbow Road. That thing's just like going to come last. Like, Jesus Christ! Just imagine how many coins it's going to take out of the UK Treasury just to put it back on the road every 3 seconds.
Yeah, the MOD is about to invest like hundreds of millions of pounds into the technology behind the blue shell.
BAE just pumping out bullet bills.
Yeah, the 10x lethality refers to like soldiers learning how to power slide and then boost their way through the corner.
Yeah, RSI injuries go up 1,000,000%.
And then we get, of course, to one of the bigger things. This is what like Labour's been like talking about, and certainly in the context of this strategic defence review, is the third subquest. The army will also be an engine for growth, driving jobs and prosperity through a new partnership with industry, radical procurement reform, and backing UK business.
What about no, it won't?
If you thought the doors were, open before, though they aren't, because like all this new money, like when we bump, defense spending to 3%, will essentially go like into the big feeding trough, but not just for like BAE and McDonnell Douglas anymore, but also tech investors, startups, Silicon Valley freaks, et cetera, et cetera. Quote the report, "We will bring in startups, SMEs, and the trade unions and their members, who are the workforce without the step change in industrial productivity would not be possible." So, GMB, you have a role.
Yes, scab unions.
Brilliant.
Of course, the only trade unions that Labour give a fuck about are the ones that are directly tied in with the fucking arms manufacturing base in this fucking country, because those are the only real ones.
Paul Mason have a fucking hunched over Gollum wank over here in this shit.
And we've already talked about the cum explosion.
They also like foresee a role not just for like new and old arms manufacturers. The report also sees a role for, quote, "The defense establishment should build relationships with the investors behind the tech innovators." Basically, what if the army just got directly in bed with like BlackRock, KKR, A16Z, all the other freaks that we know and love from investing in startup bullshit. What if the MOD just like got in bed directly with them, specifically through a new defense investors advisory group whose members includes venture capital and private equity investors, while private finance should be crowded in under new funding models. Cool. That was going to go great.
Yeah.
Christ, like... Yeah, these guys heard about the Ajax and were like, "Oh, well, we got to get us a piece of that pie."
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. The other thing, which is like a bit more nasty, essentially, in all the stuff about like how defense is now an engine for growth, is they keep it like multiple times throughout this review, keep referencing that like part of the MOD's current problem is that like it hasn't been focused enough on exports. So, like, they want to create, like, an export office inside the MOD specifically to sell all our brand new guns and bombs to responsible adults, I assume.
Cool.
I don't know. You remember a while ago in Yemen and during the Arab Spring, like people kept finding like British-made tear gas grenades and sniper rifles and all manner of horrible shit everywhere.
Oh, how
yeah,
did
what
that
if we
get
just
there?
made that like bigger?
Oh, yeah, just accidentally leaving huge fucking crates full of AK-47s and gold-plated guns and things like this. Just in every conflict zone on Earth. Sails through the roof, baby.
Yeah, and they also, I mean, this is one of those things that only gets one mention because it's a bit technical, but like it is, I think, important. They want to hand the role of like approving defense exports back to the MOD because it's currently with the Foreign Office. So like every time you want to sell guns to some horrible repressive regime in the Middle East, let's say, like the Foreign Office has to sign off for it. And now that's like, yeah, what if we just gave it back to like an MOD that has like an export promotions office? I think we all know where that goes, like in general, but yeah, it's fucking horrendous.
Yeah, what little accountability there is with the MOD as it stands. Like, what if we just strip that away entirely? Just totally removing even the fig leaf. Just completely barefaced. Fuck you, these weapons are going to where the fuck we want them to go. We don't care what genocide it goes to, just so long as the money keeps flowing and the bombs and guns keep firing.
Yeah, and the GMB employed union members can be proud, Brits making bombs for reasons we shall not inquire about any further because the export certificate says it's A-OK.
Yeah, big stamp that's just a thumbs up emoji. Excellent.
Yeah, so the fourth subquest is UK innovation driven by lessons from Ukraine. Harnessing drones, data, and digital warfare to make our armed forces stronger and safer, which also includes a passage about new energy weapons the UK is developing.
Oh, yes.
Ion cannon.
Yes.
Ion cannon. Ion cannon. You can't see it, but I'm pounding a clipboard.
Never an ion cannon. It's always a shitty laser that can't do anything except sink dinghies.
I mean, I'll keep this short because it's just more guff about, AI, drones, etc., etc. I just want to mention one of the new project, which is like a sort of culmination of digital networks, AI, and like, MI6 to like find and blow up enemy forces. But the reason I wanted to mention it because they call the project Asgard.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, is Lemba Opic involved?
And the last ring I wanted to mention, the last subquest that I also wanted to pay a bit of attention to because this fits very much into that Labour thing where they want to use the armed forces as like a sort of the glue to bind British society back together again. Make use of the flag, veterans, and dressing smartly.
That thing that Britain's always definitely loved and had a really close relationship with. Yeah, cool, go.
This is the last subquest. This is a whole-of-society approach, widening participation in national resilience and renewing the nation's contract with those who serve. Basically, what if we got everybody like super enthusiastic about the army again?
What?
Right, okay, fine. I'll fucking bite. How?
That's because we already talked about the recruitment crisis, which they simply refuse to like fully engage with. But they do have a different plan, and this includes what the report calls "quote unquote" military gap years.
Okay, kind of prick who gets to have a gap year is not going to do that. They're going to fuck off to Thailand and do nothing for a year.
Yeah, what would do wonders for the British Army's reputation is to have even more people have encounters with squaddies.
Well, so like that's sort of left undefined. Who would take a military gap year? They also have a much more targeted approach, and that is they want to attract the weekend warrior CEO class. Quote. The provision of defense training by inviting leaders of
Are we going
FTSE
back
100...
to buying commissions? Are we going back to that? That's fucking awesome.
That would fucking rule. Oh
yeah,
man,
put Richard Branson in front at the top of a fucking company of like an armored company. That'd be fucking amazing. Yeah, just give that guy a bunch of fucking tanks and let him have at it.
The MOD setting up a Patreon for like the first Sea Lord tier for like, I don't know, £200,000 a month. Now, it gets even better. This for the Weekend Warrior CEO, quote, the provision of defense training, inviting leaders of the FTSE 100 companies, other relevant companies, and civil society organizations to attend defense courses, either bespoke offerings or parts of courses, such as those by the Defense Academy, would increase understanding of society's role in national resilience and industrial mobilization in the event of war. So, like, what if this, like your average CEO just spends a weekend at like Sandhurst and then felt more patriotic afterwards?
Yeah, that's going to be really good because he can come back to his company and tell everyone through like an email that no one reads how he had a great weekend with the army and no one will care.
I mean, it'll produce like 1,000 LinkedIn posts that like 20 comms people can fight over for 1,000 years before it goes out. So,
Here's what being inside a tank taught me about business to business sales.
I'm vibrating to share what I learned this weekend on my Ajax training course. And there was one more thing, David, because I couldn't like not mention it. Essentially, is as for like how to get the broader society involved in like being enthusiastic about the army and killing people in general. Mm-hmm. They just say there will be an engagement strategy, which all right, cool. Mm-hmm. Which consists
that means nothing.
Yeah, well, it's because like all most people know now is that like the armed forces fight overseas and torment civilians and all that stuff, but they have a plan. Quote, this can be achieved in part through expanding cadet forces by 30% by 2030.
Okay. Cool.
With an ambition to reach 250,000 cadets in the longer term.
Okay, that feels like that's not a real number there. That's 30%, and that doesn't really add up, but okay.
And working with the Department for Education to develop an understanding of the armed forces among young people in schools. Cool.
Okay.
I love it when the veterans. So, when the veterans rose up and took control of social democracy.
I have thoughts about this. Having seen this shit, both like from the cadet side of it, and like, again, it was army cadets that I did, so it wasn't like this type of shit, because what they're talking about here is expanding the combined cadet forces, which are the ones that are in the private schools. You get a CCF unit in most private schools, and it's just one of those things that they go and do because they're bored and have nothing fucking better to do. Whatever. Every single one of these that I have seen, the amount of people who move from the cadets and then into the armed forces by the time they leave it, and the majority of them do not stick it out for the full amount of time that they can, don't fucking bother because they get a taste of it and go, yeah, fuck that.
Well, I mean, so apparently...
If anything, it is actively going to put more people off than it will bring people in.
Yeah, I wonder what's unappealing about having a 35-year-old alcoholic screaming at you for, like, in a freezing cold fucking foxhole for a weekend. It just isn't appealing for a career path.
Well, apparently at the moment, like just having a very quick glance, there are give or take like 40,000 cadets at the moment. So they would simply have to increase it by a factor of over 600% by 2030. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the number for the army cadets. I mean, you've also got the sea cadets and the combined cadets and the air cadets to add on to that. But the army cadets, I'm pretty sure, is the biggest one of the three. So, like, yeah, the numbers there just don't add up to me in the slightest. Presumably, they're counting officer training corps as cadet forces.
I don't know. I don't mean
fucking uni, which is pretend TA.
Yeah,
but like that, it doesn't make any sense. But like either way, giving more people an idea of what it's like to be screamed at while you're out fucking cold, wet in combats, and it's really, really, really miserable. It just puts people off. Like there's no chance. It takes a real fucking sicko to stick it out for long enough. And the cadets, trust me, I know. But like, even then, I didn't go fucking join up after it, because why the fuck would you? Why would you make that your life? It's just fucking bullshit.
Anyway, the last thing they're going to do to, renew the nation's contract with those who serve is that, like, specifically the cadets and reservists forces will organize more public engagement days. Cool.
I have also taken part in this shit too. So this is from the advent of Armed Forces Day. When that became a thing, it would be the kind of thing that you would go and tack yourself onto, and it would be an excuse to eat some burgers. And if you were lucky, the actual army was there, and they would have a table with some guns chained to it, and maybe some kind of a tank you could crawl around on, and they would try their level best to hand out a couple of leaflets. But even then, as time went on, the events that I went to were more and more just, there was a recruitment caravan, and the recruitment caravan was two really bold guys with a set of leaflets.
Yeah, I mean, look, you were at these days then. What, do you have any idea, like, what the recruitment numbers were?
Oh, no clue. I know that we did, like, specifically some stuff for, like, in schools for the cadets. And that would typically generate, like, out of, less than 1% of the available people that you would get would actually come and try it out, and almost none of them ever actually stuck it out.
Yeah. So, this is a fatal idea, because no one cares. Like, no one gives a fuck. It's going to take some, like, massive, genuine, like, invasion, which again won't happen because we'll all be wiped out in nuclear hellfire, before people actually start to get that idea of, like, well, maybe I should join the army and do something. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. It's never going to come back to what it was. Just fucking accept that you've got a shitty little defence force now. I mean, the reason that I wanted to to bring up this strategic defence review is not just, like, because it's another one of these papers where I think, like, half of the promises will not be delivered, and it'll just be, like, more money flung at the usual suspects for, like, very little effect, because that's, the way of things under late stage capitalism. But it's like, what I find much more worrying also, like, the recent, like, is this sort of, it's not just in the UK, because it's fucking everywhere in Europe and in America and, like, all over the sort of, NATO world at the moment, is this sort of massive renewed drive for, like, we must spend more money on defense. We must build more bombs and guns and tanks and put people in uniform. And it's like, maybe it's also because I'm reading, like, a book about the build up called The Sleepwalkers, about the build up to, like, World War I. And part of the themes of that book is just, like, all these imperial great powers who just, like, all simultaneously decided to just build up greater armed forces and more tanks and more guns and more bombs and more everything. And, you get to a point where like, your fucking national establishment and, like, the powers that be are so enamored of all these military things and have built up this massive force that at some point, over some stupid thing, somebody's going to say, hey, what does this button do? And then, like, you will engulf a fucking continent in war again, because you can't not. Because if the stocks of arms get, like, of a critical scale, they will be used. It's true every time. Like, it's just a really fucking sickening and worrying situation. And what you see now, what I see now, is these, is like, all these fucking dying, terrified, social democratic or liberal right, or used to be liberal right parties, all going down the same road of, like, shit, we've tried everything else. We're all out of ideas. Why don't we just try military stuff again? Because, like, much like fucking Keir Starmer in his fucking idiot little photo ops, like, what if we can pretend to be hard men like the people on the fash right, if we're just photographed in camo enough, if we just stand by a general more, what if we just chase it because we can present, like, an ersatz to the fash who can spot the difference and will spot the difference anyway. And it's just like this really sickening trend. And, like, I've said it multiple times on previous episodes, but it's also this, look how fast these freaks are willing to pay 3%, maybe even 5% of GDP on fucking, of tax receipts on fucking guns and bombs and shit. Whereas every time you want to fix the NHS or build HS2 or do something about the dying fucking climate, it's like, oh no, it's too hard. no, we have to cost it, and it's not efficient, and all that shit. You know, like, yeah, it's just sickening, and I find it also just incredibly fucking dangerous. And I find the rhetoric around this thing it also just incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, it's one of these things, but it's kind of also proven a point that they don't want to admit, is that the government does actually have to spend money. It has to spend money because it ends up with it, and you have to put that money to some sort of use. And the only way that we can do this in a way that isn't immediately fucking direct communism, according to every British people, is you spend it in bombs, buy some planes, fuck it. Like, we can do that stuff, because there's way more money available than they'll ever fucking admit there is. They have the ability to spend money as much and however they like, and this is how they're doing it, because there's so much that they kind of have to.
And it's also because this is what they want to do. Like, let's not kid ourselves again.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, it's the only acceptable way to spend money, is if it's going to be money that's used to fucking kill people. No, any other one is a waste. You don't need to keep people alive. Fuck that. The free market's there. That's what that does.
Yeah, we just.
Oh,
it's just like, I don't know. It's a very badly written report, but this trend is just fucking wrong, and it's really just like disgusting, basically, and just like and it won't fucking lead anywhere good either. Like, it's just, I don't know, man.
No.
And normally, I would say we're going to end this episode on the delightful tune of Comment or Commentariat, but as of late, I think we mentioned it previously. We do a lot of that for like Comment or Commentariat, but it's getting harder to find shit that's like deranged in a funny way and not just like deranged in a literal fash way. So we couldn't find enough like fun material this week. And we're not, obviously, I hope you don't need us to explain this to you. We're not reading you actual fast shit for, again, I don't have to explain that to you guys.
Shall we put a bullet in this one then?
Yes, courtesy of BAE. Thank you very much. So, patreon.com/PraxisCast. If you would like to, in some way, sponsor the creation of these episodes, I think that's legally fine to say.
Learn the terrible secret of butter for a mere £5.
Yes. Yeah, the terrible secret is some people don't put it in the fridge. So you can, extra bonus episodes there, 2 a month, sometimes more if we're feeling a bit extra. Maybe not this month, but who knows down the line. And we will also have Twitch streams, hopefully available if Alasdair is not dropped into the flat pack phantom zone again this weekend. So that's 6:30 twitch.tv/praxiscast, and merch is available. You can get your t-shirts, etc. there, praxiscast.tmail.com, and we will see you on the next one. Bye.
The plan is to put the flat pack together on either tomorrow or Thursday this week. Goodbye.
Yeah, bye.